Yeah, listen to the Discus Lariat Collective podcast. I'm your host, Warren, here with Glenn. And today we are going to do a predictions video podcast, whatever you want to call it, for NXT Takeover Stand and Deliver both nights. Night 1 on April 7th, night 2 on April 8th. So what we'll do is I'll just run through the card for night 1. We'll give our predictions for night 1 and then same for night 2 kind of thing. So before we get into it, if you're watching this on YouTube, drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And wherever you get your podcast, give us a follow there if you listen to it there. And then, yeah, we'll just get straight into it. So, night 1, in terms of the way it's laid out on Wikipedia, I'll just read it directly off it. So, we have Pete Dunne against Kushida. Second match, we have MSK against Grizzly Young Veterans versus Legado del Fantasma. Triple threat tag team match for the vacant NXT tag titles. Then we have a 6-man gauntlet eliminator match to determine the number 1 contender for the NXT North American Championship on night 2. And that has Leon Ruff versus Isaiah Swerve Scott versus Bronson Reed versus Cameron Grimes versus Dexter Lumis versus LA Knight. Then we have a singles match for the NXT United Kingdom Championship. Walter defending his championship against Tommaso Ciampa. And then the main event of night 1, singles match for the NXT Women's Championship. We have Io Shirai defending a championship against Raquel Gonzalez. So, stacked card anyway. So
very, very, very big match feels to all of it.
Yeah, it really does have it.
I think it's going to be good around,
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. Like in terms of build, anyway, the takeover's been built a lot better than WrestleMania this year. Obviously, WrestleMania has its fair share of great matches, but the build has been a bit all over the shop. So NXT, yeah, head and shoulders above the rest now in terms of building. So what I'll do is I'll give my picks if you want, and then you can give yours. Or actually, you know what? We'll go like match by match actually. So in terms of Pete Dunne against Kushida, yeah, it makes more sense. So Pete Dunne against Kushida. This one's hard because I want to see Kushida win, of course, but I have a feeling it's Pete Dunne all day. Just the way they've been, the story's been in the match with Balor, stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I won't lie to you. I think they're gonna book Pete Dunne to win, and I don't necessarily think it's because of whoever he's facing. I think you're on the money there. I think it has all to do with the fact that it's been, Pete Dunne's kind of very strong run. He's had his factions and been kind of come together a bit. I do feel bad because Kushida feels like he's main event enhancement talent at the minute, and I'd love to see him going up there. But I think NXT is just too. Like the arena is too small for all the fishes that are in it, biting and fighting. So my money's on Pete Dunne as well.
Yeah, savage. So we'll move on to the triple threat tag team match for the vacant NXT tag titles. MSK, Grizzly Young Veterans, and Legado del Fantasma. I have a feeling Legado del Fantasma are going to pick this up, and that's mainly to do. Yeah, and that's mainly to do with the Cruiserweight Championship. I think Escobar is going to win that match as well, which we'll get into in a minute. So I think, the Legado del Fantasma will just leave Takeover with all the belts. That's my idea. So, yeah, I'll go with Fantasma boys on that one. What about you?
Or like you could get out of my mind, Mantis. I literally had that in me notes. Like I'm not even messing. If I, where's it gone? Check this out. I have it. If my computer's not going to implode. There's me little Microsoft. Well, it's not even Microsoft Word. It's Notepad because I lost the license from Microsoft Word. Very same prediction. Very. I literally had that down. I was like, Phantasma's gonna take it. They're gonna potentially help Devlin. I don't think this is Devlin's last shot at the belt though. I think he's gonna remain in the number 1 contendership spot and might even take it off them. And you know how WWE does its booking. But I definitely think we're gonna get some heel mid-card champions in Escobar and Fantasma. So
yeah, happy days. So we'll move on. 6-man gauntlet eliminator match. Winner then goes on to fight Gargano on night 2. So in terms of this one, it's pretty cool because we have like a few rivalries in the match. Leon Ruff and Swerve, they're already feuding. Bronson Reed and LA Knight are kind of having a feud. And then Cameron Grimes, obviously, he's just because he finished in the other match and Dexter Lumis. I think this is Lumis to win, to go on and fight Gargano.
Yeah, I think with all the feuds that are going on, it's a bit hard to pick anyone else. But just so that we don't end up with the exact same card on night, I'm actually going to go with LA Knight in this one.
Savage, yeah. I'm all for that as well. Yeah, like he came in and won his first match, lost the second, but again in the same vein, like he has the sort of a feud going on with Bronson Reed. But again, he seems like the guy that if you put the belt on him now, like the mid card belt, say the North American Championship, that'll do wonders for him as well. So, yeah, cool
Yeah.
prediction that. Yeah. Now we'll move on to the NXT UK Championship. Walter against Tommaso Ciampa. This is going to be a banger. Out
It's going to be matching a night for sure.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it, but I honestly cannot see Walter losing that belt.
No, same. Yeah, Walter all day. Although we didn't really do an NXT review this week for the go home show, but Tommaso Ciampa cut the best promo of his career, I think, in that, if not one of the best, where he's talking about Walter and how he's going to take that title from him. I love it. Like I don't actually care who wins this match. That's how invested I am.
Yeah, I won't lie to you, man. If Ciampa walked away with the belt, I wouldn't be any more or less dissatisfied as long as we get the quality of match we know we're going to get from them. I just hope we don't see too much shenanigans. I want them to really have a pure competitors match on this one.
Yeah.
There's a big match feel to every single match in here. Like we've talked about many times where something like Raw and Mania and maybe even some AEW cards where there's a couple of jigsaw pieces that don't fit. There's not one thing on two nights that I can look at and go, that doesn't really belong. I'm all for everything that's happening there. I just want as much pure competition as I can get. So
yeah,
that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, savage. So we'll both go with Walter on that one. But as we said, yeah, we don't really care if Ciampa walks out the victor. It doesn't really matter. It'll be class anyway. And then the main event, Io Shirai defending our title against Raquel Gonzalez. This one obviously has, like, Io Shirai's beating everybody at this stage. Will this be the hurdle she falls at? I don't think so. I think she's going to win. I think, although they've built Gonzalez as an absolute monster, I think Shirai will win, and it'll be an outside interference by Kai, almost like a heel. Like Dakota Kai is already the heel, but I feel then it'll give the face shine then to Raquel. It'll almost be like Diesel and Shawn Michaels almost. So she'll interrupt by accident. I put this in quotation marks here, by accident. And then it'll almost be like she's turning a dagger into Raquel Gonzalez. Like, why did you leave this tag team? Why do you need to go off for this belt? That kind of thing. So I think Shirai will win, and then she'll lose at the next takeover. That's my guess.
Yeah, like there's the writing's on the wall for that one, but I think the tag team partner who interrupts with the best intentions only to cause the loss, and or the tag team partner who betrays the partner to cause the loss, I think is a while tried and true, I think it's an overdone one.
I do too, yeah.
It's again we're doing predictions, but I'm going to throw in my own little mini fantasy there. I would love to see Dakota Kai do a run in when the ref's knocked down or some shit, and actually cause Raquel to win to pick up the W. Shirai, incensed, goes on a mad one, maybe even picks the belt back up off her, and that's what ends up leading to Gonzalez and Dakota Kai breaking up. Is now they're the ones feuding over the belt.
Yeah.
Because realistically, Shirai doesn't need to win. She doesn't need to keep the belt, and having her lose via dirty tactics to a fairly well-established tag team, who've already, forced defending champs. They fucking they won the Dusty Cup and stuff like so. I think keeping them together for a hair longer and putting the belt on Gonzalez would give a good feud for the belt between them. Because while I like Shirai and I love what she's done, there's definitely a couple of moments where I've gone, you know what she can do. She doesn't need the belt. The Tony Storm feud, for example, is one of them where I genuinely think the wrong person kept.
Yeah, I think that too. Yeah.
So while your writing's on the wall and we are talking about WWE, I just feel I've seen it too many times, and I have to go against the grain and say Gonzalez to pick up the win because of Dakota Kai leading to an eventual tag team breakup and feud over the belt between them two. Shirai to fit neatly back into another slot in the card or potentially move roster.
All right, cool. Right on. So that's our picks then for night one. We'll move on to night two now, and the way this is laid out then, we have Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart defending their titles, the Women's Tag Team Championships against The Way, Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. I think this is a retention for Moon and Blackheart, personally, I think.
Yeah, I think The Way have had some great segments and some very, very insensitive dissension the last little while. So in terms of like your writing on the wall, chemistry, all that other stuff, I do think a retention's in line for Moon and Blackheart. I don't think taking the belts off them is a good idea anyway. I think establishing them as the dominant women's tag team on the roster is going to be good. I already like their chemistry more than I do Baszler and Jax for comparison. And I want to see them do more with the belts and give more opportunities to others. I don't think having nearly entire roster full of heel champions is a good move right now, even if you do end up having two factions hold basically all the belts. I don't agree with that. So I'm going to have to go with you, say Moon and Blackheart.
Nice one. Let me see. Johnny Gargano against the winner of the Gauntlet Eliminator match from the previous night for the NXT North American Championship. I think Gargano drops this belt to whoever wins. I think it will be Loomis, but whoever wins, I think they will actually take this belt off him in almost like a time to establish a new kind of mid-card star. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like Johnny Gargano's already been at the top of the mountain. I would love to see him eventually this year have another crack at the big boy title. And his work with Ciampa, Balor, fucking Adam Cole, they all speak for themselves. But I absolutely agree that the belt needs to go. If it was dropped to LA Knight and then he can continue his feud with Bronson, for example, or if we eventually get Kushida in the NA picture again, I would love to see him hold the belt. But I realistically don't see Gargano giving someone like Kushida the rub. Obviously, they already had their feud. Yeah. So to get where we need to get to in the mid card and upper mid card, I think Gargano needs to drop the belt and needs to move on.
Yeah, savage. Let me see. Jordan Devlin versus Santos Escobar for the undisputed NXT Cruiserweight Championship in a ladder match. I think it's going to be Escobar. I think it's going to be a hell of a match. I think it's one of those kind of matches that, although, yeah, you have a ladder involved and ladder matches are always exciting to watch, I feel like these boys are going to go out there and put on a show. Do you know what I mean? It's not going to be, I suppose, your meat and potatoes kind of ladder match. I think there'll be a few crazy spots. I think there'll be a Spanish fly off the top of the ladder. I think stuff like that. I'd say the two boys as well, Legado del Fantasma, will get involved in some way, but I think Escobar walks out undisputed NXT Cruiserweight Champion.
Yeah, we discussed the result from the Phantasma lads on night one. So unless the Phantasma lads lost on night one, given the win to Grizzled Young Veterans or MSK, yeah, absolutely, Escobar takes it. If Phantasma lose, I could see Devlin potentially becoming the undisputed champ. And to be honest, if I had to pick my favourite champion of the two, it actually would be Devlin. But I do think Escobar needs the win. I think he's a little bit less established than Devlin was, in terms of Devlin has that loud mouth. He's out there, and although Escobar's had a very quick rise, I think if you don't book him right, he could suffer the same fate as Rio as a bit of a counterpart. So I do think he needs to win, and plus it won't kick Devlin out of the title picture or any other title picture for that matter anytime soon.
Savage. Right on. So we'll just fly through these last two now because you're cutting out really badly here. So, and I don't want it to cut out completely, just in case. So what we'll do is, no, it's all good. It's all good. So Adam Cole against Kyle O'Reilly, unsanctioned match. I think they're going to take a page out of the AEW unsanctioned match, I think, and let these boys go at it. I have a feeling they're just going to let them have that hardcore kind of feel to it. It's a weird one. Whoever wins anyway, I hope neither of them show up on NXT for at least 2 weeks. I'd love to see that. I hate when you see after an exhausting match like this, they come out the next week hobbling on a crutch. I don't want to see that. I want to see them beaten to within an inch of their life almost, you know what I mean, and sitting at home. I'd like that better. So it's actually a hard one to say who's going to win this, to be honest. I find this one really hard to call.
I think in lieu of previous teams, we've seen suffer a similar fate when Triple H beat Randy Orton, when Michaels beat Marty Jannetty, for example. Yeah. I think Adam Cole's going to win. I think he's not going to win comfortably. Yeah. It's probably going to be some, mid-finish. It's not going to be like so much of a finisher spot fest. I think Cole's going to take it.
You're going with Cole. I just have a weird inkling it's going to be Kyle O'Reilly. I'm going to go with Kyle. And I think it's going to be, as you said, it's one of them. They're not going to win comfortably. I think it'll be like some sort of crazy spot at the end or a finisher, and it'll be almost like Adam Cole will pass out, he won't tap, or there'll be like a big spot where O'Reilly will land on top of Adam Cole and the ref will count it, that kind of thing. That's my guess. But I think O'Reilly will take it just to change it up, I suppose, from predictions. And then we will move on to the main event. Oh, sorry, go on. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, while it's not like a dispute or debate, the reason I don't think they're gonna give O'Reilly the win now is because the amount of momentum that this betrayal has, I think, is greater in terms of the environment they have to tell the story than the Shield was, where they wanted to get the factions separated quick, and it took them a very long time to get everyone on the same page for that eventual multi-man match. And we didn't see Dean Ambrose get his revenge against Rollins in the same vein for a very long time. And Ambrose was not booked as the underdog. Kyle O'Reilly's being booked as the underdog almost a la Daniel Bryan. So I think this is Cole picking up the first in maybe a trio of matches. And Kyle O'Reilly will get a very big go-home match maybe later on down the middle of the year. The momentum for Cole on foot of his betrayal, I think just booking wise, it makes sense because if he loses, he can't be then trusted to an upper main event slot.
Yeah, that's a good show actually. Yeah, that's a really good point. And I think with the likes of, as you said, like possibly a trio of matches or something like that, I'd love if the likes of Adam Cole wins, say, and Kyle O'Reilly's kind of taken off the TV for a few weeks, and if maybe Adam Cole gets pulled up to the main roster afterwards even, and then Kyle goes bad from almost, the guy need to beat you. You could bring it straight to your main event. Yeah, I think that'd be class. Yeah. So yeah, all the potential in the world for this one. But yeah, so you're gonna go Adam Cole. I'll go with Kyle O'Reilly just to switch it up a bit. But you will move on to the main event now. So singles match, NXT Championship, Karrion Kross against Finn Balor. This one has all the signs leading to maybe a possible demon, Finn Balor. I just have a weird feeling about this one because of the reports for the past few months about Karrion Kross being fast tracked to the main roster. Almost like, well, do you know what? We'll keep the belt on Finn and maybe let him drop it to someone else. I think maybe now it's time to get rid of Finn off NXT. He's done the best work of his career. Now let's see, can he bring that back to the main roster, especially with Raw being so stretched thin with our roster right now. There's no real, like, apart from your standard main event guys, Bobby Lashley and Drew and stuff like that, then you don't really have a mid card on Raw anymore. I honestly feel like you don't. And the addition of Balor, I think, although he's a main eventer, I think it'll really help Raw now post WrestleMania, especially when the fans start coming back in. Do you know what I mean? So I reckon Karrion Kross come in this one.
Yeah. I had a similar feeling. I have two storyline bookings. I won't touch on them too much, but either Finn Balor proves his point in saying the emotional will lose, and Karrion Kross loses their first run-in.
Yeah.
And Finn retains, and then night after Mania, or whether that's the Raw or SmackDown, Edge gets attacked by Balor while still holding the belt, and we have this bit of interpromotional thing. Now that's fantasy booking. The more realistic version of it is your prediction coming true. Finn Balor gets emotional in the match. Karrion Kross, beats him, not comfortably, but beats him on a hell of a main event to close out the show. And Balor still attacks Edge for not picking him. That's my run into the booking. And it means you can push Balor up to the main roster, but if they were going to fast track Kross, then instead of my little fantasy booking, what you could do, which I think would be pretty cool too, is Balor needs the title. Balor wants the title back, and if they're putting Kross up onto the main roster, here's what you do. Balor asking for his rematch, needling him. Kross is like, you can't beat me. How about we have a non-title match? Kross beats Balor comfortably. Balor says, if you give me one more shot, I know you won't beat me. That's when we get Demon Balor, maybe in the mid-year. Yeah. And that loss sends Kross up to the main roster. So we're not getting Balor back, we're getting Kross mid-year after a 2-month reign.
Savage. So who are you going to go with then for the win?
I'm going to go with Kross for the win as well, purely so that if we do get Balor back on the main roster, we can get him up there fighting Edge, which I think would be the best booking situation to have.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that's my pick.
Savage. Right. So that was our NXT Takeover Stand Deliver Both Nights predictions. So overall, them two shows are going to be insane. I'd say there's so many great matches. The likes of all the title matches. Then you have the likes of Cole O'Reilly, Kushida, and Dunn. There's some savage ones. Really looking forward to it. The whole of WrestleMania week is pretty stacked. Obviously, you have your Raw, your SmackDown, your NXT 2 nights, your Hall of Fame, then your WrestleMania over 2 nights. So it is a lot of content. There's also an NXT UK pay-per-view in there as well. So overall, this card stands out across the whole week. To be honest, there's so much so many matches that could steal the show across both nights. So yeah, really looking forward to this one. That was our predictions anyway. Before we let you go, I suppose, if you're still watching this, if you're watching it on YouTube, as I said at the start, drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit us up wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Acast, and Spotify. Drop a follow on there, and then on the socials, the Discus Lariat on Twitter and Discus Lariat Collective on Instagram. And then we'll be back here tomorrow anyway for a SmackDown review. But until then, we'll see you soon.